Purchasing a principal residence is a huge financial commitment. It can be a fantastic strategy to help secure and grow your financial position, but care needs to be taken to ensure you buy the right property and don't overcommit yourself to something you can't afford. In this video, we will consider the key elements when buying a principal residence, the pros and cons of owning your own home, and of course, the guided investor approach to home ownership. When buying a property, one of the most important elements to consider is the location. This is particularly important for a principal residence, as a location should be the perfect compromise between where you want to live from a lifestyle perspective and what is the smart buy from an investment perspective. The lifestyle element is very personal. When determining where you want to live, you need to factor in elements such as proximity to work, proximity to family and friends, the school district, amenities, access to key infrastructure, and of course, the general vibe of the area. Would you be comfortable living there? From an investment perspective, we turn to a concept called rare earth. This takes into consideration scarcity, a key concept of any good investment decision. There is only so much land in this world, and more importantly, some of that land is more desirable because of its location. For instance, land close to the beach demands a higher price than land in the middle of a desert. If that beach is also close to a city centre and great amenities, that again increases its desirability and therefore its value. Scarcity of the location of your property will likely be the key driver of the property's value over time. The key drivers of scarcity that we look for in property include the following: distance to central business districts, distance to natural resources such as the ocean or river, and of course distance to infrastructure such as schools, parks, highways, etc. All of these areas are highly sought after and have limited space available. If you can find a property that ticks multiple boxes, then you're onto a real winner. Location is one thing, but affordability is another. It's all good and well to want a property in the perfect suburb, but you also need to be able to afford it. The affordability aspect is where the compromise between your dream home and practicality meet. When considering affordability, there are two key aspects: your deposit and your serviceability. The deposit is how much you have saved to put towards the purchase. Typically, it's suggested to have a 20% deposit plus costs, as this will give you the best loan terms and no lender's mortgage insurance. However, that can be a significant amount to save, and there are other ways into home ownership with a much smaller deposit. The second factor is serviceability. Serviceability is your ability to pay for or service the loan. It considers how much you can borrow based on your income and expenses. The higher your income, the more you can borrow. The higher your expenses, the less you can borrow. Some of the key items that can impact your serviceability are the number of dependents you have, any existing loans, your age, and of course, living expenses. There are a huge number of factors that need to be considered when assessing both deposit and serviceability. To assist with this, we recommend you speak with a mortgage broker. They'll walk you through the intricate details and help establish a budget for your property purchase based on your deposit and serviceability. Always remember, just because you have a maximum borrowing capacity doesn't mean you should be borrowing the full amount. The amount you borrow needs to tie in with your financial plan. There are many potential benefits to home ownership. This can include the following. 1. Financial security. Owning the roof over your head can give you significant financial security, as no one can kick you out. You can do what you like with the property, subject to council restrictions of course, and you're not subject to rent increases. When the mortgage has been paid out in full, a massive item in your budget, that is housing costs, is significantly reduced. 2. The ability to borrow against equity. Equity is the difference between the value of your house and the amount you owe. In phase 2 of wealth creation, there are many wealth creation strategies you may want to choose to deploy by leveraging off this equity. 3. No capital gains tax. There is a main residence exemption, which excludes your primary residence from capital gains tax upon sale. 4. Discipline. By taking on a mortgage, you are taking on a big financial obligation. You will have regular loan repayments that you need to meet, rain, hail or shine, otherwise serious consequences will apply. This brings forced discipline to your cash flow. And 5, diversification. Physical, tangible property is a great asset class to hold as part of your overall portfolio alongside other asset classes such as cash, shares and bonds. Despite the many benefits of home ownership, there are also a number of risks that need to be taken into consideration. So let's consider some of those now. 1. Interest rate risk. If you borrow to purchase your home, you will be subject to interest rate risks. This is the risk that interest rates will rise, causing the costs of borrowing to increase, which in turn increases your minimum repayment. This risk can be reduced by using a fixed rate loan, but typically fixed rates will only last for a maximum of 5 years. 2. Transaction costs. Properties are expensive to buy and expensive to sell, thanks to high transaction costs such as stamp duty. You should typically purchase a property with the intention to hold it for the long term. 3. Maintenance costs. There are many costs to maintain a property, such as rates, maintenance, insurance, and utilities, just to name a few. As the owner, it is incumbent upon you to cover these costs. 4. Falling house prices. The price of your house will be driven by market forces, which are out of your control. It is not guaranteed that the value of your property will increase over time. And 5, failing to meet loan obligations. Generally speaking, the debt used to purchase your home will be secured against the property itself. Failing to meet the mandatory loan obligation could result in the asset being seized and sold to pay out the debt. One way to reduce this risk is to ensure you have the appropriate personal insurances in the event you are unable to work. Here at Guided Investor, we believe that property is a great asset class to hold as part of your overall diversified portfolio, offering characteristics unique from other asset classes like shares, cash, and bonds. By owning the roof over your head, you get a sense of financial security, peace of mind, and even pride. While property isn't suitable for everyone, it can be appropriate for many. As part of phase 1 of wealth creation, we often suggest property as part of establishing your financial foundation. By buying a property and building equity in that property, you will not only help secure your financial independence, but you also open yourself up to a whole new world of wealth creation strategies in phase 2. If you think purchasing a principal residence is an appropriate strategy for you, we strongly recommend you speak with your financial advisor. They can help assess the appropriateness for your particular situation. Please note, the information contained in this video is general in nature only and does not take into consideration your objectives, financial situation, or needs. As legislation is constantly changing, the accuracy of this information is only current as at the time of recording. Before relying on the information, you should check to see if the content is still relevant.